Welcome back. Thank you for staying with Checkpoint. As usual, we have two gentlemen in studio with us. We have Ambrose Weda, who's a political analyst and a lawyer. Thank you so much for joining us on Checkpoint this evening. We also have Gabriel Muthuma, who is in Kirinyaga. Yeah, Kirinyaga, political analyst. Gabriel, good evening. Can you hear us? Can you see us? How are you?
Good evening, Linda. Good evening, Weda. How are you doing? I can hear you fair and well.
Good. Okay, so hold on. I want us to have a conversation about Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i. So ODM party leader Raila Odinga for the first time revealed how he almost endorsed Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i to go for the top seat. Odinga, while presiding over Harambee at Mungori SDS Secondary School in Nyamira, said Matiang'i has what it takes to lead this country and vowed to work together with him. Listen in.
And at one time I said, I'm ready to support Fred Matiang'i. But when we later on did a review and look at how the forest was looking like, and then he agreed, he told me, you should actually finish, go into this forest first. Menyana na hii nyangao kwanza.
I will do everything the president tells me faithfully, with absolute loyalty and focus to serve my country and serve my president. Kwa hivyo kwanza, kama ni mambo ya siasa, when my president takes a position, I queue behind my president.
Okay. So that was Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i and of course ODM leader Raila Odinga. They met in Kisii, and this is where I want to begin this conversation, whether in a way Matiang'i is slowly being introduced into politics, is now hosting former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga saying, look, at some point he was considered to run for the presidency, and then they did their own survey and they realized perhaps it was not advisable. Matiang'i told him, you go on and then we'll see what the future holds. Where does this leave Matiang'i? I mean, anyone who's heard of the name Matiang'i, in every single docket has been given, he's a performer. Anyone looking at him will say, this is a performer. But this is now Matiang'i being slowly introduced into politics, some would say.
Thank you so much, Linda, for having me around, and our brother Muthuma. When you hear, I think Baba should avoid these stories of anytime you tell him something, oh, that is my friend. I saw even a video, the boy who got lost in Mombasa, Bijiwe, when he was asked a question, oh, my friend. Matiang'i is a friend to the president. Ordinarily, is a good worker. Is a doer. Is a kind that...
He's a performer.
If I was president, I would still give him a docket. But there has been no love lost between him and Raila. There has been no love lost between him and the deputy president. In fact, him and Raila, they have had issues. He's spoken roughly against Honorable Raila. Honorable Raila has spoken roughly against him. So coming up in a crowd to say, oh, I was endorsing him, I think Baba is above that. The Kisses love him, with or without Matiang'i. They have loved him before, they have voted for him before. So he should avoid all this. Honorable Matiang'i is loved by President Uhuru. And I think President Uhuru would like to see him play a role in the next administration. Yeah. So he is being introduced, he's saying, my package in your side, please take Matiang'i, take so-and-so, take Gideon, take like this. That is how it's coming in. But Baba is passing the mark to say, oh, I wanted to endorse Matiang'i. Oh, when you say that, there'll be several other issues. There'll be many other things. Matiang'i also has worked very well, but he has also made a lot of enemies. Because he's in the Magoha bracket.
But he has delivered.
He has delivered, but he has also hit people very hard. He's in the Magoha bracket. What I mean by that is the kind of straight, tough talking. Okay. You understand? The one that does not mince his words. So there are some Kenyans who simply don't like him, the way he talks. Just like there are some who don't like the way I talk. So he has also made a lot of enemies. He's a performer, but he has made a lot of... And I think... Honorable Raila is talking about him because of President Uhuru and because of the Kisii votes, not because he thinks he loves him that much. If he had power, You tell him, Buana, now stop joking. The deputy president, they have hand their tongue.
Yeah.
And therefore, it would go slow on him when you go, like when you go to Kisi or when you come to Luland. There's a way you talk to people so that you don't annoy them. That is, I think, what Baba is doing. But this thing of going to the extent of saying, I almost endorsed him, I almost endorsed so and so.
There was that talk, though,
Where?
at some point.
Where?
In the circles, political circles.
No, I mean those circles. I've never had where Baba wanted to endorse Matiang'i.
Not Baba, there was a conversation about Matiang'i.
Yes, and that is his friend, President Uhuru, because he has served President Uhuru well. When he went to the interior docket, he's done a good job. When he was in ICT, a good job. Education, a good job. So you'd say that if it was not that Kenya is divided into tribes, and they vote based on tribe, and the Kisi nation is small, we would be talking about the likes of Matiang'i, the likes of Weda here. But where he comes from a small community. So he'll be told, wait. That is why when Baba says, I want to endorse him, who would elect him? President.
Okay. Muthuma, listen, Matiang'i was endorsed to lead negotiations for his community, and that says a lot about where his community has placed him in the political arena. What do you think?
Well, Linda, in the beginning, when the president and his deputy decided to make their cabinet to be full of technocrats, this is indeed what we expected. So it's a world of a difference when you talk about a technocrat and a politician, or a technocrat who goes to politics. Now, CS Matiang'i is not new to some of the things that have gone on within government. You know very well. He's actually chairs currently, the cabinet, his colleagues, and he's done quite a good job in that field. But politics is very different. We do not know how or what kind of energy he would bring into the political side of things. And for this, I'm saying something like, let me give you an example, like the seat we saw in PC, the by-election in Bonchari. Look at how that went. He was on the ground and, he was pushing others to Jubilee to win. But, politics gave another glare and ODM were able to take that seat. So what I'm trying to say is that it's actually a world of a difference when you're talking about a technocrat and a politician. But that does not mean for somebody in the caliber of Matiang'i, they cannot switch easily from, the office he currently holds to being that of a politician. Yes, I caught so many people by surprise, even though, Linda, you are right that the name of CS Matiang'i has been, being thrown here and there about his political future. But that we have to wait and see, because, where would he start? And this is where probably many people would like, many political candidates would like to get, where will he come in? Will he first of all go for an MP seat? Because really, we have to be honest with one another. I don't think there's a way he can jump from being in the position that he is currently as a technocrat and go directly into getting a seat, that one of the president. Linda, the presidency is a very sophisticated ecosystem, political ecosystem, if you will. And it has so many things that are moving. And I believe, somebody in the caliber of CS Matiang'i, it will take some time probably for him to get into an elected office. And then from there, he meanders, or he gets a political wiggle room to see which seat would he be going for. Now, I'm not saying that his stars are not aligned. They could, but I think that is some way ahead. As of now, I think, Baba put it very eloquently that, he had actually started thinking about endorsing him. But again, politically, that statement may not augur well with somebody like Kalonzo Musyoka or somebody like Musalia Mudavadi, who they say, Baba, we've supported you back to back, through and through. Where would that have left us? And those are the intrigues of politics in that.
I want to pick up, Weda, from what you said, that, Matiang'i is the president's friend. He has performed, and the president probably wants him in the next government. And over several conversations we've had on Checkpoint, we've said, look, you want to be associated with the successes of a government, and Matiang'i, like we both agree, is a performer, has delivered in all dockets. So the question would be, what political capital, if at all, does he bring on the table, if at all?
Linda, after the demise, precious memory of Honorable Nyachai, there's need for the Kisii nation to emerge a new leader. And Matiang'i has the advantages to emerge. It is only that he has not moved to consolidate. He has concentrated more in his work, but he has not consolidated the political basis to bring in the political bigwigs, the political smallwigs, to put them together. I think recently they just gathered some gatherings, a few people. You know, you can always hire.
That was not a few people. There were 3 cabinet secretaries in that meeting.
But those 3 cabinet secretaries are not from Kisii land. So you don't gather people from Coast and Northeastern to say they have endorsed me to be Kisii spokesman. That's why I'm telling you, you gather a crowd that looks credible, then they endorse you. Otherwise, the kind of endorsement, if we are endorsing Honorable Raila, you really don't need someone to come from Northeastern, to come from wherever, to go to Kisumu and say, we are endorsing. He needed to get some of these leaders, the MCAs, the governors, the senators, ODM leader, people around there. But he has been at loggerheads with a number of them. In fact, at one point, they were so against him.
No, but he said, in the bite, if you listen to it, he said, look, I work for the president. Where the president goes, I'm right behind him. So he may have crossed several paths, but it was the course of his job.
Originally, he was working for the president, the president. It's only that he also veered off to where power is, the president. When he saw there was a rift between the president and the deputy, he went, but originally he was working for both. They are the ones who hired him. He didn't hire himself. The 2 of them hired when they were wearing the same shirt and the same whatever. Instead of saying we have interviewed 1,000 people. That's when he was hired, by the 2 of them. So along the way, he veered off for the president. So when he says, I work for the president, that's for the press. He works, and then he looks going forward, especially after the collapse of BBI. If BBI had gone through, things would have worked very easy. There would have been a place for him to be placed, several other things. But now that there's only one, the cake is small, you have to push him where the president wants. So then he comes to say where the president goes. No, it is that is the president's ally. The president likes him. The president seems to like Honorable Raila, and therefore he says, work. Otherwise, he himself, he had no time for Honorable Raila for a number of times. If you play some of the bites, you will see how he talks.
The course of his work.
Even before. Please remember, Raila just started the handshake the other day. But Matiang'i has been there since 2013. When Honorable Raila was in the gutters and he was in the forefront talking and doing all these things. So if those things were brought, you can't say I work for the president. He also personalized the fight between Honorable Raila and the president, just like he personalized the disagreement between the president and his deputy. He's not the only cabinet secretary. There are other cabinet secretaries. Even Kagwe is there. Even my classmate Eugene Mamala is there. But he didn't personalize. They have not personalized the war between the president and his deputy. He has come out very strongly until one time he was like super cabinet. But super cabinet to hammer the deputy president. So those are painful sores. They are painful moments that if you, for instance, Raila becomes president and you don't make friendship between them, he can't remember. If the deputy president becomes president and there's no atonement, he can't remember. So him, when he says, I work for the president, maybe he started the process of atonement. But I think the president wants him to work with Honorable Raila.
To work with Raila and be part of the 2022.
Yes.
Muthuma, are those sentiments you share, and would you say from where you sit that this is the beginning of Matiang'i's political career towards 2022?
Well, Linda, it could. And just a little bit digress from what Weda has said. You know, when somebody comes out and says, I'm working for the president, that is indeed, you know, where somebody or all the CSs at this point should be. Because, you know, they are direct hirees of the president. Remember, they are technocrats. They have been brought in. It's not like the way it was sometime back where the president, you know, picks people from parliament. It's now a little bit different. So these are direct hirees. Now, the one thing that we have to remember is if the president takes a position, then I believe all cabinet secretaries should actually toe to that line. And we've seen the people who never toe that line, what has happened to them. Mwangi Kienjori being one of them. I mean, you know, you've seen what, you know, that has led. So by and large, at this point, because of the hiring process, most of them will align with the president's wishes. So it's not then uncommon for the stand that, you know, CS Matiang'i has taken. However, the one thing that we have to be clear about is there is no sure bet of 2022. It is politics. Things can go the way you never thought they would go. Where do you find yourself? So these are some of the few things that anybody within this world should be thinking. If you take really such a strong, you know, such a strong view, or should you take such a strong position? On this one, it's all about personal preferences. It's how you feel. That who wants to serve in the next government? Probably. But if he's not serving in the next government, then so what must he do? Because if he wants to continue in a political life, then he has to start, you know, groping his political career. And where will that lead him? Probably where I'm seeing it, and this is my personal view, he can make a good candidate probably as governor in Kisi or Nyamira. You never know. He can decide to go for an MP seat. He may decide to go for a Senate seat. But I think at this point, this is where you start earmarking. Where do I want to go? And so, Linda, come February, March, when the civil servants are supposed to be taking the dive out of civil service into starting to run for office. We are going to see a lot of surprises coming out, because I believe, or it has been said, it has been rumored that there's quite a number of people who will be eyeing elected seats. Could he be one of them? I think I would bet he may be among the people running for these big offices like that one of governor or senator. Probably I would expect him to be in that particular position.
So you'd expect him to be where?
In that ticket, a ticket where the gubernatorial or the senator there. And I don't think I'm that wrong. It shouldn't surprise us.
Okay.
It shouldn't surprise us. We've seen the likes of Anne Waiguru, you remember, you know?
Okay. Weda, listen. ODM leader Raila Odinga says we had thought of Matiang'i, but then we did our survey and we realized perhaps not now. And there's this question of the headache of the running mate, both for Ruto, both for Raila, and whoever it is that wants to run in 2022. I want us to speculate. Do you think Raila Odinga would consider Matiang'i as a running mate, and why?
Let me start by, I said, when Honorable Raila said that I considered endorsing Matiang'i, I said that was just a correct statement at that moment.
So, but Muthuma also said there was a conversation about Matiang'i running in 2022.
Where? Please, I ask you where. People say, I really don't think there's any time President Honorable Raila had considered endorsing Matiang'i. Please remember, before, Matiang'i had been throwing barbs and stones at Raila until the handshake. And even during the handshake, anytime there were turbulence, he would talk. So I don't think there's a time when they said he would wanted to make him. But for that occasion, you have to say something nice. Oh, I wanted this one and this one. And I know when he goes to Kambani, he will say the same thing. Because he says, this is my friend. I do not think Honorable Raila would consider Matiang'i as a running mate.
He's a performer. He delivered. He's a good...
Now, elections, the people, Kenyans are not looking for performers.
When we had this conversation, you said it's time Kenyans start looking for performers.
Yes, because we said it is time.
Okay.
It is time Kenya should ask, but they have not told us. Have they told you that now we are going to start looking for
We are
performers?
having a conversation about getting leaders who will
Now,
deliver.
for instance, we in the Luo Nation, we are backing Raila, not because he's a performer, but because he's one of us. And we are saying the Kikuyus have been there for too long. Not whether they have performed or not, because they have been there. So why leave out performer when it comes to elections?
And that breaks
They
my
will
heart.
be given less jobs after elections have been won by popular people.
Whether we need to change this narrative, honestly.
We will not change it in the studio here.
Oh, okay.
Those guys who vote, they have told you they don't care. They want their... So Matiang'i would not be considered as a running mate. One, he comes from a very small community. Please, get that clearly. If If he was a performer, you'd simply tell whoever wins, give Matiang'i another ministry docket, and it is done. But in terms of running, that you are looking at how many votes do you have in your community? That is one. We are not saying it's very small. Even the Kisii is strong. But number two, they come from the same region. Yes. Neighbors.
Yeah.
That would be a serious disadvantage. It was almost like when Musalia was running it, but Musalia came from a big community, in fact, bigger than the Luo nation. But now, there is up for grabs the Gema, the Kikuyu, the Embu, the Meru. Somebody has to think about that. Then there is the question, how are you going to treat the Kambas if they're going to be in your threshold? How are you going to treat the lawyers? So the Kambas, the lawyers, the Kikuyu nation come ahead of the Kisii nation. So if I sat with a candidate and we are doing ping pong, who to select?
Who would you ping pong and pick? Or from which region?
One thing I'm sure is that Matiang'i will not be one of them. Other than that, Matiang'i is not popular. Please get this. Matiang'i is good and a worker. Matiang'i is like a good school principal. People perform. They do well. But the students that perform and there's discipline, they don't like the principal. Because the principal has to insist on some rules and the best way of doing things. Now, those are generally not popular. For instance, these leaders, you will never hear any leader in Kenya talking about taxation. That when I come in, we are going to increase the roads, but we'll increase the taxes like this. They are talking about, we'll give you 6,000, we'll give you bottom up, we'll give you this. But they don't talk about taxes. Because if they talked about what it takes to give it, people will say, we don't want you. Oh, you mean you are going to tax people like this to give us? We don't want you. We want one who says, there will be no pain. Now, if you see Matiang'i, is a gentleman who will tell you, look, we are going to keep law and order in Laikipia.
Which is a good thing.
Good thing, yes. But how are we going to do it? First of all, we are going to remove all the people who are there. And some people are going to sack. Some people are going to beat up. Some people are going to lock up. It is a good thing. But the pain that comes with it, people don't like it. That's why we don't elect chiefs and assistant chiefs to be MCAs. Yet they are the ones who help us to maintain law. We want people to say, when we come in, there will be ugali 3 times in a day. And the mboga will be just rare. A lot of it will be kitu soup. But they will not, if you go into how will you finance, you say, what is one? We will bring these things. So, okay. If you ask Honorable, the Chief Chicken Seller, this bottom up, these billions you will be giving, where will it come from? He will not tell you we will tax people more. If you ask Baba, this socialism of 6,000 you want to spread around, where will it come from? They tell you, oh, we will stop corruption. So when you ask him, which economics is that? Where, you know, when a budget is read, you read and say, we want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And you will get this money from...
And then you go to the next part called the ways and means.
Yes.
The ways and means of raising this kind. I have never had any minister of finance saying 30 billion from corruption proceeds. They will always say, we'll tax here, we'll tax here, we'll tax here. But you'll never hear anybody talking about taxation. At any time somebody tells you, I'll give people free money, the other people have the money prepared to pay the taxes.
Okay.
So, Matiang'i is good, but his goodness does not attract popularity. The voters want the goodness, but the process that brings it, they don't want the fellow who brings it. I've told you Matiang'i is good, like a good principal of a good school. Watoto wanachapwa kidogo, wanafundishwa, they are forced with homework. If you ask the students to vote for the teacher, they will not vote. But the result is, hallelujah. When I was growing up, I used to hate my primary school teachers. It is many years later that now I realize, oh, these people loved me more. Okay. They want me to succeed. So where Matiang'i is, you look at the way we have dealt with the COVID issues, the way we have dealt with COVID issues, the way we have dealt with security and so on. It has been heavy, and the success is very good.
Yes.
But
Granted, yes.
if you are to ask people to vote whether there should be curfew, they'll vote against it. If you are to vote whether they'll vote against it. So him is a kind of fellow that a presidential candidate who wins
would be an asset.
Yeah, you would not look at him that, oh, maybe he talked to me badly when he was with the Uhuru. You just look and say, my brother, there's work to be done.
Let's do this.
Remember the late John Michuki. We had what was called Mungiki Minis. There was a time you would not smile at a lady unless you pay Mungiki. If you didn't, Linda, they'll deal with you. Here in Nairobi, Muranga, wherever. Then Michuki came, and it was heavy. But we are now relieved.
Okay.
If Michuki was to run where Kibaki was running as president, I'm sure, even the last time, there was a time he almost lost because of that Michuki. So we wish Matiang'i well.
Muthuma, can you hear me?
Yes. Two things I will emphasize on. One is what Wakili has just mentioned, which I think needs to be amplified, and that's the truth about politics. You can be a good performer, but when it comes to the politics, it's a juggernaut, with its own life. Now, region being one, that I think would be a major disadvantage coming from Nyanza region. The two of them, that would be one probably issue that may suffice. Secondly, is the issue of numbers. If you there are other, and I think, Linda, as you said, and as I correctly agree with you, we probably need to get, beyond that, but it's our politics. It's how things, anybody coming or looking for a running mate must actually ask what political advantage are they bringing with them? And if it's not resources, what else are they putting on the table? And usually most of the time, if it's not resources, then they must come up with a serious bag of numbers and voters behind them. So I think that is one of the major disadvantages that may, be pitted against CS Matiang'i. But again, like Weda is saying, well, performance is one thing, but politics of the day may not align properly because of what he's bringing and doing. That is not to say, and I repeat, that his political stars in the future are not aligned. I think if he starts, looking at the political horizon of where he needs to go next, then I think he is somebody who I feel can easily be political. Because people really are revering him, and they actually are talking of him being, somebody who can take over from the likes of Machado. This again, Linda, me, you, and Weda will have to wait and see how the politics.
Muthuma, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Linda.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to interject a little bit. Let's try and see if we can fix your sound. It's not of the best quality. So I'm going to engage Weda just for a few minutes as we try and see if we can fix your audio. I hope that's okay with you. And I want us to move on. And I like that conversation that we've had, but the only bit that I don't like about it is he's a performer, but people will not vote for him because he comes from the same region with Raila Odinga because of things he has done in the line of duty. So let's wait till February and see which direction that takes, right?
Yes, I think it should wait to be a cabinet secretary in the next government. President, not now.
But you're the same person who said Nyastai had left a vacuum that perhaps he can fill.
At the Kisi level,
okay,
among the Kisi people, it's been built to a level where now he's fairly very senior.
Okay.
Take into account that the others like Obure are fairly older, advanced in age. And therefore, in the new generation, he's up. And if he was to consolidate, he would be the Kisi kingpin, although he has not consolidated. He himself, I think, he has also been busy with the work and also full punching people around. So he didn't consolidate from the ground. It is now that he realizes that President Uhuru has a few months to go and Honorable Raila is threatening to be president, the Chief Chancellor is threatening to be president. So if he has to continue, either he has to get a political seat or he has to align himself with these people.
Okay.
That is why it's coming up. Otherwise, if President Uhuru had another 5 years, he would still be talking roughly sometimes.
Okay, let's move away from politics now. And President Uhuru Kenyatta now has 11 days to appoint 6 judges he failed to approve in June this year. This is according to a judgment issued by a 3-judge bench of the High Court sitting in Nairobi. The bench has further ordered that should the president fail to appoint the 6 judges, Chief Justice Martha Koome will do so. Let's listen to some sentiments on this.
His Excellency the President will not abdicate his role as head of state and government to appoint persons with a questionable record to serve the nation in the solemn role of judge.
These judges have been condemned and hard. Because now, I mean, in the eyes of the public, these are the corrupt judges who the president was talking about. That is the message out there.
That upon the lapse of the 14 days in A above, without the first respondent having made the appointments, it shall be presumed that his power to make them has expired and his office becomes functus, so far as the appointments are concerned, and the 6 nominees shall be deemed duly appointed, effective from the date of default.
Koome is obliged to swear in these 6 judges. If she swears in these 6 judges, then she will have complied with the court order and upheld the Constitution. And therein lies another problem for her. It will have put her on a collision path with the executive, because this will be the first time that this is happening.
So I want to pick it up from where LSK Chair, President Nelson Harvey has just left it. Doomed if you do, doomed if you don't. And I like that I'm having this conversation with you because you're a lawyer. Martha Koome finds herself in a very difficult position, right? The court say if the president does not appoint the 6 judges, then the CJ should swear them in. So she does that, and of course it aggravates the relationship between the executive and the judiciary. She does not, the legal fraternity will look at her in a weird way and say, look, you're going against the rule of law here. What options are there for Martha Koome?
Just to keep quiet and wait. I think the part...
Weda.
Please.
Okay.
Let me explain.
Okay.
Now here we are talking about tough law, difficult law, the real law.
Learned friend, okay.
The decision to order the president to appoint the 6 judges, this would be the second decision, and it is a right decision. But the second limb that says that if he does not appoint within 14 days, then it will be deemed that his power to appoint has lapsed, and the Chief Justice should do that. That part, in my view, was not well thought out.
Why?
Number one, you are only appointed through a gazette notice. Through a gazette, no, not standard newspaper gazette or Nation. Kenya Gazette notice, controlled by the president himself. Before your name appears in that gazette notice, you have not been appointed. The CJ has no power to use it. He cannot order anybody at the government printer to do that. That's number one. Number two, the CJ has no power to appoint judges. Being a member of the JSC, the employer, they say employ, then you give the president to appoint. That number three, the swearing in itself, it is the judiciary that swears in the executive. That is why you always see judges going to swear in governors and the Chief Justice swearing in the president. They are simply saying that if the Chief Justice refuses to swear in the president, then the president also can rokota somebody among his people. Swear me in, you are a lawyer, you are the kind that,
come and help me.
The kind that Baba did in Uhuru Park. Now, I thought and I know that they would have ordered the president, the way they did, correctly, to swear them in.
Refuses?
If he refuses, normally when a court order is done, there are the next consequences. One of them, is contempt. Another one would be to say, let's wait for the next president. It is just 8 months. There are many things. You know, when it comes to constitutional issues, you not only look at the red letter of the law, but you look at the circumstances, you look at the country. There are several international court decisions. Even there's a constitutional one where there was a coup. A coup came in, threw out a legitimate government, and then there's a sitting president. He has taken over as a coup. And then the Chief Justice, you ask now, we want to appoint these judges. You can't walk to that military president and say, you know, you are here legitimately. So there are cases how the court went around it. There's even a book written by Justice Wambuzi. Justice Wambuzi, he's still alive. He was Chief Justice of Uganda. Under Amin, under Obote, he's done a very good, because I had a conversation with him. So the decision they have made to order the president, to swear them, to appoint them, that is a correct one. But to say that the Chief Justice and the JSC, that was not well thought out and will cause a constitutional crisis. What I would advise if I was advising Martha, although she doesn't do that, the public will be like, you're with Uhuru.
Yeah.
But if I was one of the judges, I would have said, you people wait. We do elections. A new president comes in.
Wait for close to 11 months.
Oh, yes. They have waited for almost 2 years. Then also, some of us, I would urge as President Uhuru's friend, Your Excellency, appoint this. These things are exposing you. When you leave office, some civil society will go to these judges who are now annoyed with you. And they lock you in the way they locked Zuma in. So there are things which it doesn't kill. Appoint them, and if there's need to appoint a tribunal, appoint the tribunal. But this also open defiance of the Constitution is not good for this country. The judiciary has smelt blood, and they're willing to fight to the bitter end. In my study of the judiciaries of the world and executive authority power exercise and the conflicts thereof, it is always very difficult to win against the judiciary. Because they make decisions which last milele na milele. And political power does not last milele and milele. So that in August, the president has done this, they have said this was contempt, this was wrong, blah, 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 blah. The BBI decision, they had said there are certain things which would be done. So he leaves office. And then another president comes in and says, I will not interfere with the judiciary. I will not interfere with them, whatever decision they make. Then they get my friend Uhuru. Now we will be struggling and sweating the whole night trying to argue cases and authorities we do not want. Okay. I would urge my president, appoint these people, and if there's need, let's have the tribunal appointed to investigate them. It is easier, it's close. We want the president to rest nice.
The CJ has 11 days, so what happens? Ignore it?
There's appeal process. He can talk to her friends and they go to appeal to grant a stay. But she has no powers.
The AG is appealing. Actually.
Yeah, so she can talk to her friends, they go to appeal and say, grant some stay to cover my face. Otherwise, you are not appointed until your name appears in the Kenya Gazette. Now, who controls the Kenya Gazette? Is it President Uhuru or it is the Chief Justice?
The courts were seized of this matter. They knew that your name has to appear on the Kenya Gazette, which is controlled by the president.
You see, there are also orders that are made for the good of the public. But if you look at the justiciability and the enforceability of some of these orders, it is not well thought out. You would have just said, we now direct the president to swear these people in within 14 days. Then you give whoever applied for the order. He goes and we wait 14 days, they come back.
And say it was not done.
It was not done. So what order are you seeking? Then they say, we want you to declare that the president is in contempt. And then the contempt proceedings are taken out. We may not enforce it now, but they'll enforce it when he's out of office. So this and that. But to say that the Chief Justice or Mr. Weda should swear them in, as a senior lawyer, no. That looks good. But in terms of constitutional making, constitutional governing process, it creates a crisis. It will create a crisis. Now it has created a crisis for the Chief Justice.
Yeah, because I mean, she
proposed to appoint them, it will be a joke.
She does not, it will be a problem.
Yes. Remember, even if she was to appoint them, she was to appoint them and swear them in, they would be paid salaries. Now, who facilitates all this? It's the same government. They are the ones who will give you a number. They are the ones who will facilitate all these things. They are the ones who gives you... Remember, the Chief Justice, Maraga, was crying about Mercedes. Who had stopped him? Was preventing him from getting the Mercedes? Same executive. So, get the executive on the right side of the law. Don't do it in a way that they can also fault you and say, okay, you have done it. Because once that precedent is created, the Chief Justice purports to appoint, to swear in people, it is no salaries, no gazette, nothing. Then the president is set, and it's a dangerous president. I think the judges would have been very reluctant to make the second order. They would have allowed and say, let's give him 14 days. If he doesn't, let us come back for the order. And the order would have been maybe number 2. The government printer should have been ordered to gazette these people. You understand? Then, now, if he doesn't, you bring him in committee. The government printer. Because the big guy is still in office covered by the Constitution, and police and the army. So you would have broken the legs, kidogo. And then other people are also urging, Your Excellency, just appoint these people, please. We don't want manenos when you leave office. We want to celebrate, and don't leave us with a lot of legal issues. But now them also, they have sunk themselves into a level where it will be very difficult to come out. Unless the Court of Appeal grants some form of stay on that part.
Wow, okay.
And I hope if I was the AG, I would appeal on the second part, not the first one. Because the first one, there's another...
The government printer.
Yeah, the part that the Chief Justice...
The Chief Justice should swear them in.
There's another one. I think the President has no choice but to appoint them and then appoint, ask the Judicial Service Commission if there are enough material to have them appoint a tribunal. If there is none, they could, you know this corruption thing we talk about?
The reasons have never been given out. He just says the integrity issues.
Yeah, but I think some of them, there are no integrity issues, it's just bad feeling. I know some of the judges mentioned there, their names and corruption are like hell and heaven. I can swear that this judge will not take money. This one I know cannot take money.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Like I can say this one. We know each other. And you know corruption, Linda, it's like adults. You rarely catch people or see people doing it. But you can suspect.
Okay, let's wait and see what the Chief Justice will do. She has 11 days, yeah? From where you sit, perhaps the appeal...
We're now putting pressure, 11 days, 10 days.
9
days.
8.
Honorable Martha Karua, I'm praying for you. May God give you strength to move through this one.
And wisdom.
And wisdom.
Okay.
Yes, it's tough. Being Chief Justice is tough. I think now you saw what Maraga did. He said dissolve Parliament. They were still the same parliamentarians went to court. The court said no. So even her, she can.
Okay, let's see how that plays out. Listen, I want us to finish this conversation with a conversation we've had, you, Muthuma, and I, about political intolerance. And just last week, we were celebrating the fact that Raila Odinga went to Eldoret, had this mammoth crowd that received him. And our Deputy President, William Ruto, called out political leaders for using youths to cause mayhem and violence. This is after the DP encountered a hostile crowd at Corinda in Busia County while on his day 2 of his Western region. I want us to listen into how that went, and of course the sentiments of Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i on the same as well.
Ngojeni kwanza, why don't you wait?
Mtu anarusha mawe, ona tu.
Tunawakaribisha tu mkaongea, hakuna shida. Basi mimi nataka tukubaliane. Sisi wote tunakubaliana, sio?
This morning when I spoke to the regional commissioner, we already had arrested 5 people related to that incident that involved the deputy president in Busia. And I have asked the security team there to look for everyone who was involved in that organization, even if they are political leaders, whether they're elected members of parliament or not, I don't care. Arrest them, we take them to court.
Okay. I want to take a look at a tweet by Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i as well. Could we have that on the wall so our viewers can actually get a look at what he said? Yeah, we in the security sector have adopted a zero-tolerance approach to those who would threaten our democratic values, starting with the perpetrators and organizers who disrupted Deputy President William Ruto's tour in Busia. Political leaders and aspirants have a right to move freely within the country. That tweet came about 7 hours ago. And he said theirs is to be neutral and act fairly to ensure an environment for vibrant democratic debate, whether we are making 2 steps ahead, 10 steps backwards in terms of political intolerance, and it doesn't look good.
Linda, those skirmishes that the deputy president met.
That is not the first one. Raila also had his own share.
Yes, I'm coming to that,
okay.
Please. Those skirmishes that he met in Busia, and the ones that Baba bet in towards Embu, those are the small stones in the Gideri. They are there. They are part of our politics. They have been there. In fact, we have come a long way. Earlier on, many years ago, you see the scout Raila said, I was there when he was being cut in Kajiado. Those days we were his security. You understand? So we have come a long way. Now, shouts, those are usual. You understand? Please. Stones. I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Please don't
okay.
Don't be overzealous on this.
Okay.
The shouts, oh yeah. They start like this. Baba has gone to an area that is perceived to be Honorable Ruto is ahead, and they shouted. Political prudence requires that to measure them, to weigh them on the scale. If you also goes where Baba is weighed to be high, like Busia, then a similar treatment is triggered. One, to show that, so everybody, it is not just Baba who was booed. That is one. That is generally part. It escalates. One, when the police are complacent, like they were in Kabuchai, and which other one? Those days, remember the
by-elections.
The by-elections, where they were complacent and very biased. Now, interestingly, it is good that the Interior CS Matiang'i has said they are going to be neutral. The only part that creates danger is the stone throwing. Not that it is not there, usually it's there slightly. If it happens to hit the deputy president or Honorable Raila, then the interpretation can be very dangerous for this country. Take, for instance, you hit Raila with a stone and he bleeds. You will see the Luo nation boiling, and there will be more stones. And there will be quest to revenge. If you are to hit the deputy president, you'll hear people say, the deputy president, this must have been organized by the president, by other people, and blah, blah, blah. And all this can keep on boiling the country. So the way it is done, apart from the way it has been done before, the leaders themselves, there is the police which they have, but they also have their own armies. And I said this about our brother Wanjigi. It is good to walk to a place, but you also have a few guys. Honorable Raila has perfected this always. He is only wicked when he's in government or supported by government. Now where are the police? But if he was left to protect himself, okay, even those shouts would not be there. Because there are people who would volunteer to follow him, even Mandera, Dada, both sides, and they'll sleep there and ensure the ground is safe. You try to shout, they'll break your leg. I'm not saying there should be violence. What I'm saying, the political leaders themselves, apart from the police, they should also have people who help them, not to fight, but remember, as long as the devil is still around here, I may not be sent by anybody, but you just see Honorable Raila or Honorable Ruto, and you say, let me just cause mayhem here. Somebody tried to kill the Pope, not because there was any problem with the Pope. He just wanted to be famous. Somebody tried to shoot Reagan. Not that he was sent by any faction. He just wanted to be famous. So there are also people, you walk to a place and he thinks he loves Raila so much, or he thinks he loves Ruto so much, that when he sees Raila or he sees Ruto, he wants to cause mayhem. And in a crowd causing mayhem, just one stone.
One person, yeah.
Just one stone. So there is a way the police do it. But the bulk of these rallies you see, they are also the party youths that help to organize security, to maintain, to keep these people. So that even if you are throwing a stone, you can throw it from far and it will not reach the leader. As long as the leader has not been hit, the rest can be managed. But if you hit the leader, any leader, fire and brimstone. So the leaders also, please, I know our police are not very many. Do the usual that has been done before. So that there's peace and security in this rally. These are not church crusades. No, these are political rallies.
But what you're basically saying is that you cannot run for office if you do not have your own group of young men who will protect you. I mean, surely we need to move away from that.
Even in America,
excuse me,
the one we use as the Grundnorm, you saw it. Please, it is not that you have to have goons or whatever, but the party young people, supporters, who ensure that people have come, they are drunk. Somebody can just come, he's a bit drunk or pretending to be drunk, just to cause mayhem. Okay. Even in church, we have ushers, we have even people also, if you come there, they are embracing and we can see you, and we will tell you who will remove the devil, but you'll also stay out. We will not allow you to disrupt the Holy Communion service because this is a church. Please, even the leaders, for the sake of this country, I can tell you that even if the police was there, Honorable Raila organized his own rallies under the Moi regime, where people are organized to beat you up, including the police. But the rallies would go on and you would not dare. Honorable William Samoei Ruto, Arap Ruto, the chief chicken seller, also learned under Honorable Raila. If they choose to organize themselves and then to augment with the police, these skirmishes are minor, they are nothing. Okay. But if they want to make political capital, then they'll allow themselves to be attacked so that they attract sympathy. Then there are people like the colleges who want to fight the Luos because Ruto was attacked, and so on and so forth. So our leaders, the first responsibility is on you. Organize yourselves. Then the second responsibility is on the police to augment this. The third responsibility is on us citizens. Let's allow these people to talk. If you don't like them, walk away.
Walk away.
Let's allow them to talk, even if you think they are lying. Walk away. But going to cause mayhem is also very dangerous. Very dangerous, Linda. Very dangerous. Go and ask those who used to walk around me in 2013 when I was running on TN.
What happened in 2013?
I was running on TN in Luland, so you can be beaten up anytime. But they wouldn't dare because it is risky. You know you are passing with bang near a police station. But so you are all prepared, all of you.
What do you mean you can
the
be
police
beaten
is
up?
prepared.
What do you mean you can be beaten up at any time?
See, you come from there, you know. Hey, this is Uhuru man, this is Koome man. But they wouldn't dare because I was not just walking alone myself. I had a Uhuru man. No, I can't. No, I'm walking in ODM stronghold, okay. And I'm Uhuru man, and I'm wearing a red shirt. Mm-hmm. You understand? You are prepared. And they know each other. You know these young people who protect leaders? Not the police. They know each other. Mm-hmm. If you see that one in the other side and this one on this side, it's always respect, salute one another. They say, they know because they are also having a team. The leaders know. Let them not put us into premature war. It is too early.
Yeah, I mean after 2000.
So, Mheshimiwa Ruto, panga. Kama unaenda huko, Busia, there are young people there that support you. Organize them. Honorable Raila, if you are going to Embu,
alongside
there are people. In fact, if you depend on the police 60%, you are running a big risk. Unless you are the president.
What does that say
or the
about
deputy president.
I mean,
any other person. You need, even Matiang'i, if he enters into politics, then you can't just be walking around with the police, because the police also, the more like in Luland, when you are surrounded with the police, people not only fear you, but they hate you. And any small skirmish, they all gang together. The only way is you also have your own Luos. When you are going to Luland, you have your Luos, the other Luos who don't like you. So they know each other. They say, oh, you are with Matiang'i, yeah, salute. To say Simiane. When another person comes, they know these things. So let them not also jeopardize our peace and stability by walking into some places when they are not organized. Then they allow even drunkards to throw stones. Then we are raising political temperatures. It's not right. But you can't just walk alone.
So basically, it's on the police, it's on us as Kenyans, and it's on the politicians themselves.
The politicians. They know they are. I'm telling you, if the police was to withdraw from Raila today, even those who shout at him wouldn't dare. Look at 2007. He was campaigning outside government. He didn't have those police. He was campaigning. 2013, outside government. 2017, outside government.
Okay, so basically what you're saying, despite what Matiang'i said, yes, there'll be zero tolerance to violence, but we all have a role to play in this.
Yes, okay. And he will say they'll be neutral. They are not neutral. He downgraded the deputy president's security. He himself removed the GSV and putting a peace. So when you say we'll be neutral, I don't think even the deputy president believes him. But what we are saying, let them not go into things when they know what to do, what they would have done, and how they organize this rally so that nobody dares. If I want to go and disrupt Raila's rally, it is not that I go with the police. People who are there will just say, nimeona nani there, nimeona nani there. They know how to do it. These two gentlemen should do it so that they spare us the agony and the anxiety of violence, the fear of violence.
Wow. Okay, so again, it's on the politicians, it's on me and you, and it's on the police. Teamwork.
Yes.
For us to be able to sort this thing out. Okay. Excuse me. I want us to get your final comment on the county of Nairobi. So Nairobi City County Deputy Governor Anne Kananu is expected to be sworn in as governor on Tuesday after the Court of Appeal dismissed an application by former Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko that had stopped her from taking oath of office. Consequently, Kananu will become the first female governor of the capital and the fourth female governor since the advent of devolved government. Weda, before we wrap this conversation up, I want to get your opinion on this. And Kananu now obviously goes on to become governor. It's over for Mike Sonko. And as you answer that, excuse me, let's talk about how NMS has carried out its operation since.
I had said NMS has done relatively well, although illegally. In terms of law, a lot of things are illegal. But in terms of delivery, in terms of order, they have done well, looking at the hawks that we found ourselves in, the drama that Mike Mbuvi Sonko had placed us in, where he had his own throne, he had his own uniform, he had his own police. The jokes. We're out of it. These people are doing things that work. So the remaining period, it would not be any useful in terms of expenses to do any elections. It would not be worth it, the remaining 8-9 months. So she can come in. She was appointed by the same Mike Mbuvi Sonko. So trying to stop her from assuming office, I really don't know. We should have been the ones trying, but he did it, although he thought he was subverting the law and he was doing it as a joke. But as President Moi used to say, ya Mungu ni mengi. That lady's chi, if she was a West African, had said that one day she will be governor, even for a day. Yeah. And Mike Mbuvi Sonko started it as a joke. But the heavens registered it. Now she's going to be governor. And the best is to pray for her, cheer her on, salute her, give her a chance to display herself, give her a chance to do whatever she can do. I just hope she will not come in and start fighting the NMS. The NMS, although part of it are illegal, but the work they are doing is good. So if she came and augmented them so that she's in charge, but then gives them authority to do some of the things they do, it will be well for the Nairobians until we maybe elect another cartoon in 2022.
I like the part where you're saying until maybe we elect another person, but do you think Nairobi should be treated differently from the rest of the counties?
Nairobi is not a county. Nairobi is the capital city. The UN is here. The UN is not in Mombasa. Unkataga and all this. it is, Nairobi is like the sitting room, surely. You can't treat it the same way you treat your store. You can't treat it even the way you treat your bedroom or your toilet. Nairobi is the sitting room. Anywhere in any home, even the poorest of the poor, the sitting room, you'll always find the seats are there, even if it is one. And when the visitors are coming, it's cleaned. So Nairobi is the capital city, a regional city, one of the biggest cities in Africa. You cannot run it in a cartoonist manner. So it has to be treated differently, specially, and directly. We did. These are some of the problems in the Constitution. We should not have treated Nairobi the way we treat other counties. We should have treated it differently. That's why we found ourselves in a mess. What kind of mess did we have? Imagine that even if you are to make the road, the highways, you would go and seek permission from City Hall. And because there was a TIF, the governor would refuse. And the governor would go and erect parks along this Mombasa Road, forcefully, because he did not understand what a city is. He just said, I was voted in. So we cannot do that with our city. So I hope the city voters, I don't vote in the city. Please don't give us another cartoon.
Okay. So
I beg you, I beseech you, I beg you.
What kind of leader would you like to see for Nairobi as we wrap up?
We need somebody who understands. In fact, the governor of Nairobi should, from being governor of Nairobi, be straight president. Should be somebody who has run, who is able, a presidential material, not a consular material. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the consular, but presidential material, because this is a big corporation. Okay. Big, you run it as a corporation, you run it well. Why would that army man just excel quickly?
He's a military guy.
So you mean it is military where people excel?
They do, they work very well.
So Oparanya is not military, but he excelled in Kakamega. Or we bring Oparanya here. We should have the constitution to allow transfer. So if we elect a cartoon here, we transfer them to some shadowy counties.
I need to wrap this conversation. But thank you so much for speaking to us and for being part of Checkpoint this evening. I really appreciate your time. Gabriel Muthuma, I apologize. We were not able to hear you. I understand the problem originated from your end. I'm hoping next Sunday you can be in studio with us. People, thank you for watching Checkpoint. That's where we leave it. Have a good night. I'm Linda Ogutu. We'll see you next Sunday.